Hello, followers of Runes and AshTreeBooks. I started to carve on African Amethyst. It's pretty neat. I'm really enjoying so far. I have 6 runes already, and I decided to do this pink pigment, and I think it looks pretty neat. Let's hold it up to the light. That's Jira. But there's a rune that I wanted to talk about today. It's on my heart, and I have it written on ogham here. It is, can you guess what the yew tree is associated to in rune form? There is a rune that is named after the yew tree, and it's the 13th rune of the Elder Futhark, right in the middle. And it represents death and regeneration. But as we know, what this rune teaches is that it's never an ending. Nothing ever ends. So it's a very powerful rune. And I will show it to you. I just carved it. This is Eihwaz. Eihwaz, it can be pronounced. It can be pronounced like E-E-H apostrophe W-A-H-Z. And it represents the mother of all trees. Some call it the parent tree of Gradrasil, which is the ash tree, the tree of life. So very powerful tree, both revered in both Germanic cultures and Celtic tree folk. I don't think the right word is folklore. It's more and more sacred than that. So this is it written out in ogham, and when I do a protective tree grove on the tables, I set out the ogham symbols to bring in the trees. So I want to talk a little bit about this tree. I'll show you my my table for a little bit as I talk about it. What I do is I think really hard about the runes before I carve them. So I have this template and I lay out what rocks I want on which spots. So I thought about this I always put a lot of consideration into which ones I carve. And yeah, these are the ones I kind of jumped around this time. Sometimes I do a whole ayat at a time. And this time I jumped around. So what I also do is I light up my friends. It's a party on my table. There's Odin. Who else did I bring this time? I brought Hecades. It's a party on my table. I've got this little guy. I don't know why. I just thought maybe a little leprechaun helping me out this time. So, and this is the yew tree. I brought a little piece of it. I don't know why I'm sniffing it. I always sniff it every time I pick it up. And anyways, it is a very powerful, powerful, powerful tree that is symbolic of rebirth and regeneration and about new beginnings. And sometimes when it shows up in readings, it's a lot of fun figuring out why it showed up in a reading, because it can mean so many things because it represents transformation. Sometimes it can mean that you're more powerful than you even realize. And that is something that you need to tap into to harness that power. But sometimes it can mean that it's showing up as an indication that old things have to fall away for new things to start. So that's always something that's interesting to tap into and always very exciting, because it is just such a profoundly powerful rune with no end and no beginning. If you look at it, here's, actually, ooh, look at this. This is cool. This is one of the first sets I have, actually is the first set I ever carved. So I'll talk about it there like that. And it was used for poisons and suicide. Perhaps in modern times too. I don't really have the literature on that, but I do have the literature that it was used and for such purposes in medieval times, but also for medicine as well, for in shamanic practices, for hallucinogenically, but also to help with getting rid of the toxins in inoculations of children at childbirth. So it is also used, I'm just peeling off a little bit of wax. I got a little bit of candle wax on it. So it helps get rid of toxins in the body and is used to help with that. There you go. Giving you all the goods here with the yew tree. So it's a line down with 5 lines across in ogham, and it metaphorically represents death in the form of leaving behind old ways and allowing new aspects of your life to die away to create the new. So quite a beautiful rune, and it can be used magically to also take journeys and to visit past lives. So that is a profound way to also use this rune. And it was the tree that helped birth the runes. It is said that how do I put this into English? It's like the codes of the runes are within coded in, it was birthed through the yew tree, which was birthed the ash tree, which was birthed the runes. So a lot of profound symbolism, and also what I like to do when you get to know what each of the runes in a very basic sense, what scholars agree upon, or should I say wisdom keepers. I think I should say wisdom keepers, because we all sometimes the scholars don't always get it right, and you have to use your own intuition, and that's what I'm getting at. So pay attention to how it makes you feel. When you look at the symbol, look at how symmetrical it is. When it shows up in readings, it doesn't matter. Sometimes with some of the runes, it matters how they show up. But in this case, it doesn't matter how it shows up, whether it's this way or this way. So you can see, it even makes you feel like there's a sense of no beginning and no end. So it's very powerful, helping also get over obstacles. And something else that's really interesting about this rune is it's the only one that isn't actually used as an alphabet. So it's more used as a magical symbol in the Elder Futhark than ever in any kind of writing. So that just speaks even more to the fact that the symbolism and the code of this rune is really meant to be a divination tool more than anything that's meant to be put into So more of a whispered secret than a spoken word. If I'm allowed to try to decipher why it's not put into the alphabet. So there we have it. And I'm getting going on this African amethyst. Whoops. Sorry. Why did you want to fall from my hand? Surrender. Let things fall into place, how they're meant to fall into place.